In this tutorial, we're going to create simple sidebar with options for navigation. You can find source code and description, and if you want to follow along, you can delete all code except default.css. Also, in this video, we will use FontAwesome for icons because it's awesome and easy to set up. So let's get started. First, we will write all the HTML for our page. Of course, we will start the main parent of our page. Then we will create our navbar container on top. Now, because we need only button to show our sidebar, the only member will be the icon itself. We also added our class to it so we can more easily play with its style. As you can see, our icon already appeared in the top left corner. Now we need to make our sidebar container, which will contain our buttons for navigation. But we also need some semi-transparent overlay that will go over the page, but behind the sidebar. Now we need to create sidebar top row, which will contain arrows, so user can close the sidebar by clicking on it. Again, we're using FontAwesome icon. Don't forget to write your class inside. Here I made a mistake by typo on the end of solid. Now we're creating another container inside sidebar container, which will contain all the navigation options. Now we can create our options for navigation. We can duplicate this line down by using Shift plus Alt plus arrow down. This would be it for the navigation options. Let's test the navigation. Finally, I recognize that I made a typo which I told you earlier about. As we can see, without CSS our page is kinda dead. So let's fix this by typing some CSS. This is the main container of our navbar. We want its width 100%, padding of 24 pixels, and we will use flex for easier manipulation with content alignment. Again, I made a mistake by typing height to 4px. I will go back to this later. We use position fixed because we always want our nav bar on top of our screen. It doesn't matter if user scrolls or not. These are our flex settings for setting our arrow on start and centering it on vertical line. Z index is for layers. Basically, our container will be behind something or on top. In this case, it's very big number, so he's on top of everything. We forgot to style our main container, so let's get back to it. Container width is 100%, container height is 100 VH, and we center everything both horizontally and vertically. We're also setting Z index for container just in case. Let's create class logo so we can add some image example in our main container. Width and height should be both 100% and object fit should be cover. Let's add image to our page. We need to write class logo so it gets our style. Be careful to write the exact project path to your image. We're also under obligations to write description for image and alt. As you can see, our page is still not good. We need to add CSS for other stuff as well. Let's continue styling our nav bar so we can switch to sidebar later. Now we're styling an arrow for opening our sidebar. Cursor pointer means cursor will change to pointer when hovering over it, like a clickable effect. Now we're typing what will happen when user hovers over it. Because arrow is actually a text, we will simply change color to something brighter when user hovers over it. This part for hide sidebar button should actually be in sidebar CSS so everything stays organized. I made a mistake here. This will not be a problem, but it is not inside navbar, so it is better to move it into a sidebar CSS so you don't look for it later. We're doing nearly everything same for hide button except color. Now we need to style our sidebar so our page don't look like a cheap bitten piece of apple. First, we will style our semi-transparent overlay, which will fill the screen and be behind sidebar. Basically, we made it full screen, added some background color to it, blur, and positioned it behind our sidebar. When it's active, it will display itself. Now we're styling sidebar container, which will contain top row, menu container, and navigation items. We finally see our sidebar, but it's not positioned well. I also added some badass shadow that I found on the CSS Shadows website. And transition, which will add transition between our hidden and active sidebar position. We're also giving it big Z index, so it will be in front of overlay and everything else. Here we're telling it what will happen when it becomes active. We're styling the top row, which contains close button. Now we need to style our menu, which will contain navigation items. We're styling navigation items inside our menu. We're explaining what will happen when we hover over them. I made a mistake somewhere, so I'm taking a look. Found one. Saw another mistake or typo. Looking for it. By the way, this is my default CSS. All of this you have in the description. Still can't find the problem, so I want to search by class. Found it. Now we need to write JS for our sidebar. We will wait for DOM content to be loaded and then continue with our script. Like this, we're getting all the necessary elements. Be careful not to make a typo while writing their class names. Now we're adding Click Event Listener on our button for showing the sidebar. We will do the same for the rest. So basically, we want to show sidebar and overlay, so we're adding their active classes to them. Now we want to hide both overlay and sidebar when user clicks close. Same goes when user clicks on overlay. Now we're adding our sidebar script to our page. Saw that we don't have gap between arrow and first nav item, so I will look for the problem. Found it. Same as here. Now you have completely functional sidebar and everything is as it should be. Congrats!